What if one of the most powerful men in music was hiding a secret so explosive it could shatter the careers of some of Hollywood's biggest stars? For years, whispers have floated around about Diddy's wild parties, locked doors, and the kind of behavior that only got spoken about in shadows. But now, those whispers are turning into headlines. Orlando Brown, the controversial former child star, has once again stepped into the spotlight. And this time, he's not just throwing out random names. He's painting a picture of an entire industry tangled up in scandal, disease, and betrayal. From Grammy winners to movie legends, the list of names being connected is enough to make anyone pause. But here's the real shocker. Orlando isn't the only one talking. Other voices, insiders, ex-lovers, even fellow celebrities, are starting to echo the same allegations. And if even a fraction of this is true, then what's unfolding could be one of the biggest bombshells Hollywood has ever faced. So how deep does this go? And who exactly is caught in the crossfire? When it comes to exposing the dark side of the industry, nobody goes harder or crazier than Orlando Brown. For years, he's been Hollywood's loudest loose cannon. One day he's going viral for outrageous interviews. The next, he's dropping names that make fans question everything they thought they knew about their favorite stars. And while a lot of people write him off as unpredictable, here's the thing. Every time Orlando speaks, people listen. Because even though his delivery is wild, his stories often line up with the rumors that have been circling for years. This time, Orlando's aim is locked directly on Diddy. He's not just suggesting shady behavior. He's flat out claiming that the mogul has been running secret parties filled with celebrities, escorts, and no boundaries. According to Orlando, these weren't just innocent late-night hangouts. They were full-blown freak-offs, and the stories coming out of them are disturbing. In one clip, Orlando recalled Diddy making shocking advances, bragging about his power, and expecting people in his circle to play along. Orlando claims he refused, and that alone had fans raising eyebrows. But he didn't stop there. He hinted that Diddy wasn't alone in this behavior, that some of the biggest names in music and film were part of the same scene, and that's what makes people pay attention. Because it's one thing to accuse a megastar of being reckless. It's another to suggest that an entire list of household names has been pulled into his world. But the allegations don't end at wild parties. Orlando claims there are real consequences, serious ones, that could put both careers and lives on the line. And that's where things take a darker turn. For decades, Diddy has built an image of power, luxury, and influence. To the public, he's the mogul who turned parties into empires. But behind the scenes, whispers of his private lifestyle have been circling for years, and they paint a very different picture. According to industry insiders, Diddy's so-called freak-off parties weren't just glamorous celebrity gatherings. They were carefully hidden events where the rules were simple. Nothing was off-limits. Male escorts, female escorts, hotel suites stripped of privacy, and doors locked for hours. Orlando Brown claims these nights weren't about fun. They were about control, with Diddy at the center of it all. Even the feds seemed to confirm some of the strange details. When Diddy's homes were raided, reports claimed authorities found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. What they didn't find, though, was a single box of protection. That detail alone sent the internet spiraling. Fans started asking, if safety wasn't a priority, then what exactly was happening at these parties? And the rumors only grew louder. People who say they were there describe nights drenched in excess, drugs, alcohol, blurred memories, and encounters nobody wanted to talk about the next day. Some attendees allegedly walked away with more than just hangovers. It's the kind of environment that turns speculation into suspicion. Because if even a portion of these claims are true, then the fallout wouldn't just be embarrassing, it could be dangerous. But Orlando Brown wasn't done. Because in his latest rants, he doesn't just describe what went on at those parties. He claims Diddy's hidden lifestyle might have left behind something far more serious than wild stories. And that's where the health allegations come in. This is where things get darker. Because Orlando Brown isn't just talking about parties anymore, he's talking about consequences. According to him, Diddy's private lifestyle didn't just leave behind blurry memories, it allegedly left behind diseases. Rumors have long swirled around the industry about Diddy battling serious health issues. Orlando claims that some of the people closest to him walked away infected. And he isn't the only one suggesting it. Jaguar Wright, another outspoken insider, went public with explosive claims that Diddy has been secretly living with HIV for years. Even more disturbing, she said she has a list, nearly 20 industry names, that might have been exposed through him. Now, whether those claims are fact or fiction is still unclear. But the whispers online are relentless. Fans point to women who've come forward saying they caught infections after being connected to Diddy's circle. Others recall lawsuits involving celebrities linked to him. Suddenly, what once sounded like far-fetched gossip doesn't seem so easy to brush off. The picture Orlando and others are painting is one where Diddy wasn't just living recklessly. He was allegedly putting everyone around him at risk. And if true, the ripple effects wouldn't stop with one or two names. It could stretch across the music world, the film world, and deep into Hollywood's elite. Which brings us to one of the biggest names tied into this mess, Usher. The first big name to get dragged into Orlando's claims is none other than Usher. And honestly, for a lot of people, it wasn't even that surprising. Usher's history with Diddy goes way back to when he was just 13 years old, fresh in New York City, staying at Diddy's mansion. On the surface, it looked like mentorship, a rising star learning from a music mogul. But years later, when Usher talked about that time, the details didn't sound like the kind of environment any parent would want for their child. In an interview, he admitted it was a very curious atmosphere. He even said he would never let his own kids experience something like that. At first, he laughed it off, but the way he described it, wild parties, strange behavior, left a lot of people unsettled. And when you connect that to the allegations swirling now, it raises serious questions. Because Usher hasn't just been tied to Diddy socially, he's faced his own legal battles. Multiple lawsuits accused him of allegedly passing herpes to women, cases that dragged on for years and stained his reputation. So when Orlando Brown threw Usher's name into the mix, fans weren't shocked. They were suspicious. Could it be that Usher's troubles weren't just personal, but linked to the years he spent around Diddy? If the rumors about Diddy's health are even partly true, then suddenly Usher's lawsuits start to look a lot more complicated. And the uncomfortable part is, Usher wasn't the only one, because Orlando had more names to drop. And next on that list was Meek Mill. After Usher, the next name Orlando Brown pulled into the fire was Meek Mill. And this one had the internet on edge. Rumors about Meek and Diddy have been circling for years, matching outfits on vacations, spa days, private jets, and videos that fans swore looked way too personal to be just business. Things got even messier when an audio clip allegedly surfaced, claiming to capture Meek and Diddy mid-act. The recording was graphic, and while some dismissed it as fake, many online said it sounded a little too real. Meek responded fast. He jumped on social media and called it all a smear campaign designed to destroy him. To prove how serious he was, he even offered $100,000 to anyone who could investigate and prove he wasn't involved. But to Orlando, that was just noise. He fired back, saying you can't erase what people have already seen and heard. And then came the clips that really fueled speculation, like Meek casually calling Diddy daddy on camera during a vacation. It might have sounded harmless to some, but to the internet, it was ammunition. Fans tore the video apart, questioning what kind of relationship the two really had. For Meek, the timing couldn't have been worse. With Diddy already under intense scrutiny, any connection to him started looking suspicious. And the more Meek denied, the more people seemed to believe there was something to hide. But Meek wasn't the only household name dragged into this storm. Orlando had another superstar in his crosshairs, and this time it was Will Smith. If Meek Mill's name raised eyebrows, the next one Orlando Brown dropped sent shockwaves. Because according to him, even Will Smith wasn't safe from Diddy's world. Orlando flat out claimed that Will had been involved with Diddy during these infamous freak-off parties. He even hinted that footage of Will was out there, being passed around behind closed doors. For fans, it sounded almost unbelievable. Will Smith, the blockbuster king, caught up in the same scandal? But this wasn't the first time questions had been raised about his private life. Years ago, Will's own brother B accused him of living a secret lifestyle, saying he wasn't as straight-laced as his Hollywood image suggested. The rumors of Will being on the down low have floated online for years, but now, with Orlando pointing the finger, those whispers got a lot louder. Will himself tried to laugh it off. At a comedy show, he told fans he had nothing to do with Diddy's parties, brushing it aside like it was just another wild rumor. But the crowd's reaction said it all. People weren't buying it. The timing, the names being dropped, and the ongoing investigations into Diddy made it harder and harder for fans to ignore. And if Orlando's claims are even halfway true, then Will might not just be a casual guest at Diddy's parties. He could be directly tied to the very scandal that's threatening to blow Hollywood wide open. But the names don't stop there. Because after Will, Orlando pointed to two more artists who've been spending a lot of time with Diddy, YK Osiris and French Montana. If Orlando Brown's claims weren't already shocking enough, the next wave of names he mentioned had fans scrolling nonstop. First up, YK Osiris. Now, YK's connection to Diddy raised eyebrows long before Orlando spoke. The two were spotted taking luxury trips together, beachside vacations, poolside videos, and even clips of Diddy shirtless, while YK vibed along. At first, it looked like a young artist enjoying the perks of hanging with a music mogul. But then the posts got stranger. One moment YK is on vacation with Diddy. The next, he's online getting a naked massage, eating fruit, and tagging Diddy's music in the background. Fans didn't miss the connection. Things got even messier when YK's baby mama jumped into the drama. She claimed she actually caught him in bed with another man, later hinting that his time with Diddy wasn't what it seemed. And when YK was pressed about it on The Breakfast Club, his response only made things worse. Instead of denying it outright, he laughed nervously, dodged the questions, and left fans convinced there was more to the story. But Orlando didn't stop with YK. He also brought up French Montana, a longtime friend of Diddy's. Their bond has always been tight, but one clip in particular had the internet talking. At French's birthday celebration, cameras captured the two men oiled up, laughing, hugging, and looking way too close for comfort. Some fans brushed it off as harmless, but others insisted it looked like much more than friendship. When you put these moments together, it starts painting a pattern. Different names, same story, artists drawn into Diddy's inner circle, surrounded by rumors that refuse to die. And it's not just the men getting dragged into this mess. According to Orlando, some of Hollywood's most famous women are tied into the scandal too. While most of the attention has been on the men in Diddy's circle, Orlando Brown didn't stop there. He claimed that some of the most famous women in the industry were also pulled into this secret world, and the names he mentioned turned heads immediately. Jennifer Lopez, Cassie, and even the late Kim Porter have all been tied to Diddy at different points in his life. To the public, these were high-profile relationships, but behind the scenes, Orlando and other insiders say the reality was far more complicated. Cassie, for example, has already spoken out. In her lawsuit against Diddy, she detailed disturbing stories of being pressured into wild acts, sometimes involving escorts, and often against her will. Those allegations alone sent shockwaves across the industry. But Orlando suggests that some of those same encounters may have involved serious health risks. Then there's Kim Porter. Official reports surrounding her death left fans with more questions than answers. But some people who claim to have seen the real autopsy insist she tested positive for HIV before she passed. If that's true, it raises unsettling questions about what she may have been exposed to during her years with Diddy. And let's not forget J.Lo. She's managed to stay out of the darker rumors, but her long history with Diddy still makes fans wonder what she might have seen or experienced during their time together. The point Orlando is making is clear. This isn't just about reckless parties or shocking rumors. If even part of what he's saying is true, then Diddy's world may have left a trail of pain, lawsuits, and broken lives across both men and women in the industry. Which brings us to the bigger question. Is Orlando Brown just stirring chaos again? Or is he actually exposing one of the darkest secrets Hollywood has been hiding for years? So when you pull back and look at the bigger picture, Orlando Brown's claims paint a chilling image of Diddy's world. From wild parties to health scares, from celebrity connections to legal battles, it all sounds like a maze of secrets the public was never meant to see. But here's the real question. How much of this is fact and how much is rumor? Orlando Brown has a history of making shocking statements, yet time and time again, parts of his claims seem to echo real controversies that later surface. Could this be another case where people laugh it off now, only to realize later he wasn't entirely wrong? And what about the stars caught in the crossfire? Usher, Meek Mill, Will Smith, Cassie, even Kim Porter. If these stories are true, then Hollywood isn't just hiding scandal. It's hiding something far darker. For now, none of these allegations are confirmed, but the conversation refuses to go away. Fans are left asking, is Orlando exposing the truth, or is this just another wild conspiracy meant to stir the internet? One thing is certain, this story isn't finished. And as more lawsuits, leaks, and rumors come to light, the truth about Diddy's world may finally be revealed. And it might be even darker than anyone imagined.